Okay, class, now we're going to talk about job order costing. We're going to compare that to process costing just briefly so you can see the difference between the two. But this chapter is about job order costing, all right? So job order costing is when you're dealing more with custom type orders. They don't all have to be custom, but it's definitely more customizable than process operations. Typically there's lower production, doesn't have to be, but typically there's lower production. There's going to be higher flexibility, okay? Lower production in comparison to process costing, much higher flexibility in the manufacturing process than in a process costing, all right? So a really good example of this would be Dell computers. I don't know if you've ever purchased Dell, if you're familiar with the company, but when you order a Dell computer, let's say you go online to order a computer, you customize that computer. You tell them everything you want, the RAM, the ROM, the drives, everything that you want, the monitor. It's very flexible, okay? So you customize those orders, all right? And just lots of flexibility associated with that. Versus process operations, a good example of this would be like Coca-Cola, okay? It's a process, right? They're manufacturing Coca-Cola, and each can of soda isn't really customizable, right? There's very low flexibility with Coca-Cola. You get a can of Coke, all right? Oil is another example. The oil companies, they manufacture oil through a process, okay? It's not a job order costing system. It's just a process where they just keep manufacturing more and more of these items. Let's see. So now we're going to look at just the job order costing area, all right? When we're manufacturing our products, so in our example it was a table. We're manufacturing tables. There's a good chance that could be job order costing because maybe these tables are custom type tables. You know, every table maybe is a little bit different based off of what our customers want. It's possible that our situation could be a process. Okay, maybe we make the exact same table every time. If that were the case, then we'd probably use a process system. All right, but let's say that ours is highly flexible, where we can change these tables out a little bit. We can use different kinds of woods, different kinds of materials that go into it, and maybe we paint them differently. Maybe they're different heights. We just have different types of tables, so it's very flexible. You probably have lower production, and you can customize these things. Okay, well, first of all, let's take a look at what a job cost sheet, or some textbooks say a job cost record, okay? But what this is we're keeping track of the costs that go into the product that we're manufacturing. So if we're manufacturing, let's say 10 tables for somebody, very customized tables, then we're gonna have a job cost sheet, and it's gonna be typically divided into 3 areas. Our direct materials or raw materials, direct labor, and overhead. So we're gonna accumulate our costs in this job cost sheet, okay? So whatever those dollar amounts are, materials, labor, and overhead. So I'm just gonna plug some numbers in here. Let's say that we have $1,000 of materials, let's say we have $500 of labor, and let's say our overhead is $500 too, okay? So then this would be a total cost of $2,000 that we're accumulating in this job cost sheet. It literally just is a sheet of paper typically that keeps track of these costs as they come in. So as you requisition, we have a requisition, we requisition the materials, we bring these materials into our job cost sheet, okay, so that we can track them. As people work, as our employees work on manufacturing these tables, then those costs come in here. And then overhead gets assigned a little bit differently, okay? These are not actual. This is actual materials, actual labor costs being assigned, and then this is an allocated amount. We're gonna allocate the overhead. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the next video. All right, so in my example, we have $2,000 in costs, and let's say that if we manufactured one table, then that one table costs $200,000. So we're gonna sell it for more than $2,000. If we sold it, if we sold one table, this would be the cost associated with it, and we would sell it for, I don't know, $3,000, okay? But let's just say that we manufacture 10 tables, so then the cost per table would be $200, and then we'll be selling them, since these are custom, we'll sell them to them for whatever price we want to determine that to be, maybe $250, $300, maybe $400, okay? So, let me erase that. Now let me just show you the journal entry as materials come in here. Remember, Materials, this is like the work in process area, okay? So the materials, first of all, in our raw materials area. So what we're gonna do is we're going to, first of all, show how materials get into the raw material area. So this is the raw material area. So when we purchase materials, we're going to debit raw materials inventory, whatever the dollar amount is, and then we'll have probably accounts payable, because we probably aren't paying cash. If we're paying cash, then it will be cash, okay? So this is the journal entry to put our materials into our raw material area. Okay, so I'm gonna put that over here, raw material area. Now, once we put it into our job, then we need to debit work in process inventory, and in this case it's $1,000, I said. So there we're putting it in, there's the debit, and then the credit is to raw materials inventory, right? Because we need to reduce the amount that's in raw material. We're gonna take it out of here, and we're gonna move it into our work in process area, our materials area, okay? So there's that journal entry. Now, how do we put labor in there? Well, as our employees are working, they're filling out time cards, and we'll be keeping track of those time cards, those time tickets, and we will also put their wages, we'll accumulate their wages, and it's $500, $500 into our work in process area, and then we'll have wages, sorry, it's kind of messy, it's hard for me to write down this low, wages payable, $500 to show that we owe our employees $500. If we paid them right now, it would be wage expense, we pay cash out. But for now, we're just gonna put it wouldn't be wage expense, I'm sorry, it'd be wages payable here of $500. If we're paying cash right now, it would just be cash, right? But we're gonna put it into payable first to show that, and then later when we actually pay them, because we don't pay them right that second when they do this, later when we pay them, we'll reduce this wages payable, and then we'll credit cash at that time, all right? So here are the materials coming in here. Here is the wages coming in here, and then overhead I'm gonna show you in the next video, all right? So I know that this is something new, it's a little different, but it's not really hard. I mean, you just gotta really visualize what's taking place here, that we're manufacturing a product, and in that product, certain costs need to go in there. We need to accumulate those costs to come up with the true cost of our product, all right? Thank you.